Great. The technology we presented last class, it is one of the very famous scenarios, technologies, tools, utilities we can refer to in order to design a dynamic web solution. We saw the architecture of from different perspectives that designs a web-based solution. What we stop at is the history, just the context of the versions or distributions that the .NET actually delivered to us. Uh, we said that it is a matter of up to the date where the book actually was written. So the versions we are utilizing today in real plane, they are actually an updated version than what the book is describing to us. That's again here actually this chart here or this graph here demonstrates the uh, upgrade of versions the .NET has passed through, and what we see today is the core 2.0, actually the .NET Core 2.0. It is one of the updated versions that we are utilizing today. What actually we have to take care of is that the most updated version gives us more rich experience that we can stand on to build more, let's say, easy applications while developing, and a more productive solution means a solution with more services using the predefined .NET tools. So the most updated .NET core or library holds more predefined functions or tools that we can utilize to give a more productive interface or API to the users. You may go with the first one, yes, but you'll not find the same experience like when you go with the most updated version. Great. So the .NET, whatever actually the the version is, remember that it is a context of a library that defines group of predefined tools or functions that we are going to utilize to deliver a service. Whenever we talk about a .NET tool, so we are willing to make a function or a procedure, or let's say a process within the page in question. What does it mean? It means actually if we are, for example, we are going to create a registration form where the users have to register, and using the credentials that they submit through the registration form, they would be actually able to log in. What should we do? One of the solutions is that we can go by implementing fully the registration form, then the process of registering and saving the data submitted. Then we use this same data to log in the user or help the users to log in again using a different form that we have to implement also. It's a long process, but it is very feasible that we can do it. Using the .NET technology, we will use a very adequate process based on the available tools, the integrated tools, and we are going to have the help of the companion scripting languages to finalize the process easily without writing much code, without taking care of the background uh, totality of details. We are going to utilize the .NET available tools for generating the form, for example, the registration form and the login form. We may do that. Then after the save process, we can refer to the data sets and the data tables, whatever the scenario is, the adapters to help us register and help us authenticate the logged in users. Uh, this is actually one of the benefits of the most updated and the let's say latest versions of the .NET frameworks. All the activities, they are not related to only registration and login, but we can do a lot of tasks using the .NET framework. We can deal with files, we can deal with mailing, we can deal with network activities. So many tasks we can refer to using the .NET framework. Remember that. So this is actually an all-in-one package and null functionality in one package that we can refer to finalize so a numerous list of functions and tasks digitally displayed to end users later on. Yes, the ASP.NET finally, the ASP.NET actually it is made up when we talk actually about the ASP.NET, we are going to present a schema, an architecture. And this schema or this architecture actually it is based on a group of interrelated components. This graph here, what we see in front of us now, it summarizes what the ASP.NET fully is made up of. When we say that we are going to build up or design a dynamic hub solution that actually is made up of is actually developed using the ASP.NET technology. What does it mean? It means there are components interrelated and they are working together to help us have the benefit of the ASP.NET or call the ASP.NET functions and use them accordingly. Those components is the script itself, what you are going to type as code to build your components, to pose your ideas, the language, which is the ASP or the C# or the VB as scripts in background, and so on. Not everything you are going to write it fully. Not everything you are going to write it fully means you are not going to write the thing from scratch. You are going to use the ready-made tools, no? The buttons or the labels or the text boxes or the grids or the tables. There are so many things we are going to drag and drop. Because of the what? Because of the help of the libraries available for you to generate, for example, a registration form. There is a ready-made form that you can drag and drop. It's a library that defines the forms from which we can use the registration form. Login form, the same thing. Data grid, the same thing. So there are libraries that would help us utilize ready-made procedures, functions. And those procedures, those functions, we have some ready-made functions and procedures that we can refer to do specific tasks. They are not tools, they are procedures here. The CLR, the Common Language Runtime, those are procedures to help us do specific tasks. They are not tools. They are not like the buttons or the tables or whatever, labels. No, they are procedures to do a process, to do something in memory, to do something on top of the processor. That's it. You not see the result. CLR, Common Language Runtime, those are sort of procedures to do tasks in background. Like what? Like, for example, you're going to empty the memory. You finish the process, the program, to make him a little bit faster, you have to empty the memory. So delete everything in the memory. There are garbage collector or garbage deletion procedure that we can refer to. So, in conclusion, the ASP.NET, it's a context of interoperating components that they are actually working together and they are fruitfully succeeding in making the interoperation. Those components, they are summary. The script you are going to type, the script may be actually the ASP itself, maybe the C#, maybe the VB. Actually, there is no limit here, but there are a group of scripting languages and programming languages that they are actually helping you to manifest your ideas or whatever you are willing to write. Second component is the group of tools you are going to utilize due to or as a benefit of the .NET framework. Which are actually, as per example, the buttons or the labels or the text boxes or whatever. So in order not to write the form, even the form itself, I will explain in the registration form and login form. In order not to keep designing the forms or whatever, you can drag and drop the tool. You'll find it. So the libraries, they are defined in those ready-made tools. The third component is the list of procedures. Here, remember, I insist, procedures, we say. They are not tools, procedures. Those procedures, they are actually to do some common tasks, because when we say that we are going to empty the memory, for example, the RAM, whatever the program you are using, whatever the website you are using, whatever the solution you are using, so the RAM is the RAM. To empty the RAM means to empty the RAM. There is no difference. So it's a very common procedure to utilize it wherever it has been called, with the same way, one of the same parameters, same method to call, and that's it. The same process to happen. Empty the memory, for example, garbage collector. So those are ready-made lists of ready-made procedures. You just utilize them as they are. Interoperating those components gives us the ASP.NET definition. The ASP.NET components. Any questions, please, here? Any questions here?
No question, Mr.
No question.
Okay, great. So we continue. Exactly what we were explaining. The language actually they are the scripts that you utilize to manifest your ideas. The libraries that they are the group of tools you use, drag and drop, in order to avoid حتى لما تكتب, in order not to write everything, you just drag and drop. Common language runtime, they are the procedures utilized to ready-made procedures utilized everywhere in every program, and you do not need to rewrite the code again. Just utilize them like they are. Example of that, actually, the exception handling and the garbage collection. And this is the definition of the components that they build the ASP.NET framework. Let's dig in a little bit further, and we define the ASP.NET framework differently now. This ASP.NET framework, actually, here we are going to see it a little bit different. So now we are going to dig the technical aspect of the ASP.NET. When we compared last class the ASP versus the ASP.NET, we said that the ASP is a simple scripting language. It's a programming language, it's a programming language. But the ASP.NET, it is also it's a programming language, but on top of a given framework, the .NET. It works on a given framework, on a specific framework, which is the Microsoft framework, the .NET. So there are differences, 100%. Amongst the differences in this framework is that the ASP.NET web solutions, web pages, they are having something called code behind mode. What does it mean? Means that every page you generate in ASP.NET would be given a name with an extension .aspx. This is as a web solution, web page, simple web page to be displayed to the end user, ASPX. Whatever the name you choose for your web page, the extension would be .aspx. This is the web page generated using the ASP.NET technology. Hey, what's the problem here? There is no problem here, but there is a secret. The secret is that this ASPX page would be linked to another page that runs in background, which is holding the script that adds effect to the page. Example. For example, this page, this SPX page, it registers users. You are going to register for the EduWave, for example. You are going to register as a new member in the EduWave. Okay, this is the page that registers you. It holds the form. That you use to fill up the data, your name, your last name, your email, your contact, your major, and so on, your details, your profile. And there is a button in the same page to save. In the same page, there is a button to save. Okay, to save, there have to be in background one code responsible for saving what you typed here, which is either in C sharp or VB or J sharp and so on. There are other scripts responsible for accomplishing what this page has started. So this page, for example, in this case is named mypage.aspx. The code behind file related and linked to this page is the same name, mypage.aspx.cs. mypage.aspx.cs. This is the code behind mode. Actually, scenario fully means whenever you generate a new web page, there will be actually a new linked page that uses the script you chosen at the beginning, as per whenever you start the development of a new page, new web solution, sorry, whether in C sharp or in VB or whatever. As per our book, our reference, it is in C sharp only. So it would be linked with the same name, but dot C sharp at the end, CS. Who will do this link is the Visual Studio only. The IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, will do that for you. You will not do anything. You'll find it ready. Any questions, please?
Mr. Can please explain more?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we try to generate a web solution, or just we are going to create and design a web solution, we are going to create a website, web application, a dynamic application, whatever, using the ASP.NET, every page that holds services to the users would be named with a name. You choose the name. You choose the name. Home, registration, profile, gallery, the name you want. But the extension, no. The extension has to be .aspx. The extension has to be .aspx. This is the property of all ASP.NET web pages, front and web pages. It has to be like that. Name.aspx, name.aspx, name.aspx. .aspx is the property of all the web pages generated using the ASP.NET. Okay, when you create the ASP.NET page, which is the ASPX page, you'll put things inside. For example, you are going to generate a website that handles the course registration. To register your courses, your timetable for the studies, you have to choose the courses and register them. Okay, there will be a page to register courses. Extension is ASPX. Okay, you'll choose the courses, but to save what you chosen, there have to be a code in background. We'll do that for you. The save. You choose through the form, course number 1, course number 2, course number 3. But when you press save, there will be a code in background to do that for you. This code, it is because of the characteristic of the ASP.NET, which will link what you create here to a page. In our book, actually in our reference, it is in C sharp only, CS. You'll not do it. The Visual Studio will give it, you'll find it ready. Double click on the component, on the button save, you'll find yourself inside this file. It does not need anything to do. But you have to know that the Visual Studio, the framework we use, will link what you create to a background file. Every page you create, it will be linked to a background file. Every page you create, it would be linked to another page, which is in background. You'll not see it, but when you want to open it, it will be available. Yeah. To do what? To do all the process you need, all the processes, sorry, you need in background, like the save, like the search, like the login. You see the form only in the page, But how it does that, sorry, it is because of the background solution. Who created this background solution? Is the IDE. It's not you. Another characteristic that the ASP.NET has is that it is a web solution. The ASP.NET is a web solution. It has to be carried on using the HTTP protocol only. The ASP.NET generates static and dynamic web solutions, and those static and dynamic web solutions, they are web-based solutions, whatever they are. So they have to be carried on using the HTTP protocol. HTTP, it carries HTML content only, and as a property of all the HTML content only, they are all stateless. We defined last class the fact that they are loosely coupled. The ASP.NET solutions, they are loosely coupled, which are stateless. Loosely coupled means stateless. Whatever you load now, if you want to load it again, you have to call it back from the server side. It will not be saved in local. It has to be called back from the server side. So state management actually is one of the characteristics that the ASP.NET preserves. It is inherited due to the HTTP characteristics, or let's say capabilities or potential. Caching. This is another characteristic actually. This is another feature that the ASP.NET preserves. All actually capabilities that the not all. Let's talk about this caching only, in order not to make it vacant. So the caching is a process via which the browsers do hold what the ASP.NET uses frequently. The caching, it's a verb. It's the fact that the browsers holds for a period of time the data that the ASP.NET is frequently utilizing. What does it mean? The ASP.NET would be actually enhanced in matter of time. For example, the application written in ASP.NET would be fast enough due to so many reasons. Amongst of them is the caching activity. What is the caching activity? Actually, all the pages required to load, let's say, a service to the end user, they're going to be loaded by called by the web browser, which is the client, and loaded and displayed to the end user. Okay. For example, you are going to call the page number 1 and page number 2. Then after you call the page number 1 again, and you go to page number 3 and so on. So the pages you call again and again and again, they would be saved locally inside the browser memory. There will be a space where the browser saves locally what the designed ASP.NET solution requires. Pages or components, all of them, they will be stored locally. What does it mean locally? Locally means inside the local computer, inside the memory of your computer. It will not go to the server and search them again and bring them back. No, they will be actually stored in local memory and called from local memory only to avoid time waste. And this way, it would be actually significantly enhanced. The ASP.NET will be enhanced significantly. There will be actually a time gain significantly seen. It will not be actually, it's not, but actually at least we can see the application much more faster. Besma, what is the concern of the caching fact? The caching activity? The caching activity we use for what? The caching activity. We use it for what, or is utilized for what? بسمة السؤال is for you.
ASP.NET.
ASP.NET what we used for what exactly? It is here مربوط in our example here, actually in our example it is related to the ASP.NET, yeah, but to do what?
Checking can
Yeah, what is the idea behind ايش
so
الفكرة?
vigorously improve.
This is the main purpose. Absolutely true. The main purpose, actually, we activate, or we don't activate, actually it is already activated. The fact, small summary, the fact that we utilize, or the browsers utilize the caching, is to enhance the performance of an ASP.NET written or designed application. What does it mean to enhance it or to improve it? It means we are going to gain time. Means it would be actually at least much more faster, and it will be significantly seen improved, significantly actually recognized. You'll be able to note that it is faster. This is one of the features, characteristics that they help us in doing so. Okay, great. One step further, let's dig in technology. Still ASP.NET only talk. The life cycle of the ASP.NET web page. Here, actually, I'm gonna just start with the application only, but later on we will see the web page later on. But for now, let's discuss the application in abstract. The difference is that here I call in an application, which is actually seen in an abstract mode when we compare to calling a web page. It is designated web page. Those are actually 5 steps that we got that every application passes through whenever it's called. So to launch, for example, the EduWave, our example, our educational ERP here in campus. So the application actually would be launched, which is the called the kickoff or the start up of the application. This is the first step. Second, actually, an object from this application would be generated. What is an object? Actually, it is an instance. It is a block that designates that you, as a user, called the EduWave, for example. This is said an object. So there is a link, or there is a point stating that your EduWave or whatever the concerned application is being called. Third, actually, the application is web-based. So the HTTP application actually has to be the HTTP actually version of the object that has been generated will be actually created. An HTTP version or distribution or view of what has been created as an object would be created. Why? Because we cannot transmit C++ or we cannot transmit anything through the web. No, only what the HTTP protocol can carry. We were talking that the state management, it is one of the HTTP concerns. ASP.NET is not HTTP, it's not HTML, it's not something that we can see it on the web. But there is a scenario via which we can carry ASP.NET technologies over the HTTP. So here, the application that you created, that the developers has developed initially using ASP.NET, that they would be actually passed through, transferred to an object, and this object has to be actually also transferred into an HTTP view, in the sense of it would be compatible to be transmitted as an transmitted over the HTTP protocol, communicated over the HTTP framework, displayed over the web browsers that they understand the HTTP, let's say headers and whatever packets they are, whatever the HTTP is carrying on. Then after utilizing and finalizing the use of the HTTP, this HTTP version or view or display, there will be dispose of the full application. Dispose means it would be actually terminated, and this dispose would be terminated by a memory empty up. We are going to the browser, let's say, would empty the memory where the application will reside in. Application start. This is in the server side, background. An object from this application would be generated. Then an HTTP version distribution copy or something in HTTP that goes on HTTP only would be created. Then the use has been terminated, thus we dispose. The browser will dispose, the client will dispose, and this dispose will be indicating the end of the use of the application that has been already started earlier. Briefly, this is the life cycle of the ASP.NET web pages. Those 5 pages actually exactly what I will explain to you. When we compare this actually application lifecycle to the web page lifecycle, we find actually more details to be seen and displayed to us. There is not only one application to start, but before of that there is a request. You are requesting a specific page in the EduWave because the application, for example, we call the EduWave. Okay, from the EduWave we're going to call the course list page where the courses are listed for us. Your registration, تسجيل. Okay, there is a request prior to that. There is a request prior to what? To the page startup. When you request as a user, the page would be started at the server side and it would be initialized as if we are generating an object here, the initialization. Then it would be loaded into the memory where the server actually would validate that. Yes, it has been loaded and yes, validated. This is what you requested. This actually event would be carried on by transmitting the data to the memory of the browser or the client, where it has to be rendered in the sense of ASP.NET cannot be seen in a web client. Web client can see only HTTP components, which are the HTML-based solutions. It has to be rendered into an HTML version. ASP.NET technologies, they are background solutions. They have to be rendered into an HTML version in order to be displayed to you images, texts, and graphs and everything, what you see in your page. If they are only ASP, they will not be able to see them. They have to be rendered before being displayed to the end user. After being rendered and displayed, there will be an unload of this content. We terminate it. Lifecycle terminated. Request at the beginning and load at the end. Request, then start up, then an object through the initialization. You will load it to the memory. The server would validate its request, yes. Then communication to load and to request again and again the components of the page to load it, post back events. Then a rendering from the cache of the client into the display of the components. Rendering would happen. Then an unload when finished. When you close the page, there will be an unload. Any questions, please?
No question.
Okay, everything is clear. Okay, just let me check again did you just log in? Still هدى وذكرى. هدى خلاص. هدى you are in. هدى, thank you.
What, Mr.?
ذكرى. هدى خلاص, thank you.
Yes, I'm
ذكرى.
going in class.
ذكرى and ذكرى. Only ذكرى. جميل كلام. Only still ذكرى did not log in. So if you hear your name, please just say yes. If you hear your name, please say yes. I'm gonna